All right, guys, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, but I think that Tucker Carlson is truly the best political commentator in the game, right? He is somebody that I truly do look up to and say, damn, if I could get my commentary game up to his level, that would be amazing, right? Even though he has writers, I don't have writers, and I'm basically just talking off the top of my head. I just truly do appreciate what the guy does, because I have a sense of what all it takes behind the scenes to do what he does at the level that he does it, right? And that is one of the reasons why the mainstream liberal media, they hate him so much, right? Not just because he gets all the viewers, right? He basically dominated the ratings, but also because he's just simply better, right? He's better at his job, right, of political commentary than they are, right? He's so compelling in the way that he can, piece together a narrative. And it's something that I truly do appreciate, okay? I really do. So with that being said, Tucker Carlson did a masterpiece last night on AOC, in which he basically spends 10 minutes roasting her up over a ridiculous book length thing that is coming out from the New York magazine that compares AOC to Jesus, right? Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous, right? It is a ridiculous comparison. And Tucker picked up on how ridiculous the comparison was, and he decided to roast up AOC and the New York magazine for basically writing this fluff piece about AOC. The whole point of the segment was to point out how ridiculous it was for New York magazine to write the piece that they did about AOC, right? Basically praising her as if she's a prophet or God or something, when she's simply just a bartender that likes to do makeup that happened to end up in politics, right? It is what it is, right? She's nothing special, okay? And I'm not saying that in a biased way. That's just objectively true. She is one of the least effective Congress people that there is, right? I mean, that's just an objective fact that has been studied, okay? So the New York magazine writing the piece of literature that they did about her deserves to be ridiculed and roasted. And Tucker did just that. Now, AOC, in response to Tucker roasting her, melted down in the worst way possible, but it was par for the course when it comes to AOC, and I want to talk about that today. But before we get into that, I just want to let you guys know, if you like what I do and you want to support what I do, you can do so using the links in the description below. You can support the Patreon, you can support the PayPal, you can support the merch. There are multiple ways to support the channel if you would like to do so. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and play a little bit of the clips from Tucker Carlson's roast of AOC last night that got AOC triggered. Take a look.
So that is what we're opening with tonight, the new Sandy Cortez book. Yes, it's a lighter topic than tyranny in Canada or war in Ukraine, both of which we will get to in a minute. Our only excuse is it's Friday and we've got limited self-control with stuff like this. It's an amazing book. Let's put it this way. It opens by comparing Ocasio-Cortez to Jesus. And then it suggests that because she once got second place in a high school science competition, she could have gone on to win the Nobel Prize. It is a remarkable piece of journalism. We plan to put extensive excerpts from the book on the screen tonight for you to read. And then we thought, who reads anymore? Not Sandy Cortez. She never reads. Reading is racism. It's so white people. So instead, we've asked our senior producer, Alex McCaskill, to read the passages for us.
On this night, and again during another session assembling IKEA furniture in July, she shone a bright light on her own complicated, multifaceted self. In that video, Ocasio-Cortez looks thin. Her trousers sag. She's wearing her glasses and her hair is up in a sloppy, just about to wash my face bun. She's wearing an old moto jacket and is sitting on the floor of her unfurnished apartment eating a bowl of popcorn and drinking a glass of wine. For dessert, she has a small pack of fruit snacks, sent to her in bulk by Roberts' mother. She has no agenda, nothing in particular to get off her chest. It really is as if she were exhausted and wanting to talk. "I'm alone today," she says pointedly at the camera.
I mean, imagine if you were the person who wrote that. So here's this crazed solipsist filming herself as she puts together a coffee table and eats popcorn, okay? The least compelling film made since Andy Warhol died. And this is what you call it. She's shown a bright light on her own complicated, multifaceted self. That's the moment when you have to be honest with yourself and say it's time for me to retire. By the way, the person who wrote this didn't even perceive how creepy it was. I'm alone today, Ocasio-Cortez says pointedly at the camera. Is it just us, or does that sound like an invitation to a booty call? Maybe one step from, what are you wearing? Either way, it's a little strange. It's definitely oversharing. And yet, according to the book, oversharing is the key to Sandy Cortez's success.
She offered the reassuring warmth of Oprah, the fire and brimstone of Jonathan Edwards, the inspiration of John F. Kennedy, the intimacy of an FDR fireside chat. It was exhausting and reassuring and scary and comforting and extremely weird.
The intimacy of an FDR fireside chat. Sure, except that FDR never told us about his skincare regimen. Somehow he was able to win the Second World War anyway. You wonder how he did that. You also wonder what brand of concealer he used. Sadly, there was no Instagram then, so the details have been lost to history. Thank heaven we know what Sandy Cortez uses.
Yeah, so as you can see there, that is Tucker Carlson basically mocking this book and how ridiculous it is, right? How it tries to paint AOC as this transcendent figure, right? Which she's really not, okay? And he's simply just roasting that, right? And some of the creepy stuff that they write in the book, in which they go into a lot of detail about how AOC looks, right? And her perceived beauty and all this other stuff. Okay, again, Tucker is just roasting that for 10 minutes straight. I highly recommend you guys watch it if you want to watch it. I'll put the link in the description. But it is literally like 10 minutes of Tucker just roasting AOC. Okay, nothing but punchline after punchline after punchline. Okay, that's just what it is. Okay, it is very entertaining. Okay, now obviously the internet does what internet does. And they only picked up on the part in which Tucker says something about a booty call, right? Which in full context, he's basically saying how creepy it is that this writer is, highlighting that the AOC says, hey, I'm alone, right? While drinking like wine and, something else that she's doing, right? AOC stuff. Again, so this is what internet chooses to highlight.
Me to retire. By the way, the person who wrote this didn't even perceive how creepy it was. I'm alone today, Ocasio-Cortez says pointedly at the camera. Is it just us, or does that sound like an invitation to a booty call? Maybe one step from, what are you wearing? Either way, it's a little strange. It's definitely oversharing. I need to retire. By the way, the person who wrote this didn't even...
All right, so yeah, AOC caught wind of this, okay? And she goes off the rails in her response and basically accuses Tucker Carlson of on-air harassment, okay? Let's read here. Remember when the right wing had a meltdown when I suggested they exhibit obsessive impulses around young women? Well, now Tucker Carlson is wishing for this on national TV. You're a creep, bro. If you're this easy with harassment on air, how are you treating your staff? Okay, so AOC basically plays the Me Too game with Tucker Carlson, right? She accuses Tucker Carlson of Me Too because of this monologue, right? Which I highly doubt that she actually watched the whole thing. I highly doubt she watched the whole thing, okay? For full context, right? But she's just quick to say, oh, see, this is another example of conservatives / Republicans wanting to sleep with me. Here's another example. And this is what Democrats do, right? This is their special tactic, okay? Anybody that disagrees with me is X, Y, and Z, right? In this case, AOC is saying anybody that disagrees with me wants to sleep with me, right? That is why you're disagreeing with me, okay? That is why you don't like me. You don't like me because you secretly want to have sex with me. That's what AOC is essentially saying, right? It's the same thing Democrats do when they say anybody that disagrees with us, they're racist, right? They're white supremacists. It's the exact same thing because, again, if you watch the whole monologue, he's literally just roasting this book, right? And the idea that this book is praising AOC as some type of special figure when she's truly not, okay? She's very mediocre, okay? And that is the whole point of the roast, right? And what I find to be fascinating is how you say that Tucker is creepy for roasting the book for being creepy, right? That was like the whole point. He's roasting the book for being creepy, okay? The passages and the excerpts in that book, they are creepy, right? In my opinion, okay? They spend more time talking about AOC and her looks than what she's actually accomplished, right? To me, I think you can define that as creepy. But again, like most feminists, right? When it comes to dating, the men that they find to be attractive, when they come up to them and say whatever, right? Oh, that's great, right? That's something, that's game, right? But when it's somebody that they don't like, somebody they find unattractive, then it's creepy, right? That's exactly what's going on here, right? The New York Magazine writing about her looks, okay? That's not creepy, right? That's journalism, okay? Tucker roasting the New York Magazine for creepily writing about her looks. That's creepy. You know what I'm saying? You see how this works, right? You see how this works. So also what I want to point out here is that she talks about how the right wing had a meltdown when she suggested that they exhibit obsessive impulses around young women. And I'm like, I find it fascinating how you keep saying this, but yet you have the left-wing network of CNN that has literally melted down, right? Has imploded because they have people that work there that have obsessive impulses around young women, right? That is literally the demise of CNN right now, okay? I find it fascinating how AOC fails to mention that, as if that's only just a right-wing thing, when right now the left-wing network of CNN, they seem to be suffering from that, right? And then she goes on to say, any man that talks like this will treat any woman like this. Doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, or either. This is clearly not a safe person to leave alone with women. Once again, the existence of a wife or daughters doesn't make a man good. And this one is Basira. So essentially, AOC now is trying to say that Tucker Carlson is not safe to leave alone with women, basically implying that, he, might be a danger to his staff, his wife, his daughters, women that he works with. Again, this is a very, very, very effed up smear, right? It really is. And this is one of those things that, AOC, honestly, this is a new low for her, right? To imply that the man could be a threat to women because of this monologue that she didn't listen to. Again, it's disgusting. It really is, right? And this is, again, typically how women like to rip men for simply disagreeing with them, right? Instead of engaging with the substance of what Tucker was talking about, no. He's a danger to women because he criticized me, right? Again, to imply that the man might be a predator because of a monologue that he did about you. Again, this is AOC's equivalent of a false Me Too allegation. That's literally what it is, okay? That's literally what it is, right? Implying that this guy might be some type of, harasser or a creep or, somebody that, is doing stuff that there's no evidence that he does, right? Unlike, some people at CNN. So, again, this meltdown from AOC, in my opinion, is even worse than when she melted down and implied that, all Republicans want to sleep with her, right? This was a next level, right? This is her basically accusing Tucker Carlson of harassment for a monologue in which he points out the creepiness of a book that is comparing her to Jesus Christ, right? I mean, I think everybody that is sane in this world can understand that comparing AOC to Jesus is simply ridiculous, okay? And it deserves to be mocked and ridiculed. But hey, it is what it is. I just found this meltdown from AOC to be hilarious, the most recent one. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.